I'm going to move on to the next section, which is section 223 of the bill, which is, I think, a little better from our point of view. In fact, I'm sure you will agree. That's in the relation to service of notice. Section 223, which basically says that we've got some more options in relation to service of notice. The first one is under section 223(1). You can serve a notice by delivering it in an envelope addressed to the person and leaving it in the mailbox at the person's residential or business address. That's very new and opens up the service.
Is that a serve in person or just under the during the 4 days?
You can deliver it yourself.
But to the letterbox.
You could do the letterbox, yeah.
So you don't have to include the 4 days?
No. But the interesting thing is that the mailbox at the person's residential or business address. Okay, you can by sending it through post, well, you've got your 4 days there, but that has also been opened up to residential or business address. Okay.
4 days, yeah.
Oh yes, 4 days, yeah.
What proof have you got of it's being served?
Pardon?
What proof have you got there?
Statement.
They say, I've never received.
No, don't worry about the no thing. We've already knocked that one out with the tenant that says, I didn't receive the notice. The tribunal is now very much aware of some serious case law that just simply saying I didn't get it is not enough. They have to prove that they couldn't have got it. And the tribunal's attitude, if you haven't been in for a while, the tribunal's attitude towards service by mail is totally different. And so is anybody still having trouble with members that said, I believe the tenant because he said it under oath? Well, it's worth challenging because there is case law that says that simple decision is not right. Okay?
Is that the same with like rent increases as well, like the same with notice?
Yeah. Yeah. So
this
this is general terms. This is general terms in relation to service of notice. Okay. So the next one that you can now do both ways, previously it was only the landlord, is by sending it by facsimile transmission. Okay, so you can now actually serve the tenant by fax. Sorry, we didn't get email. We didn't get email, but maybe that's the next time round.
So if the tenant gives us notice by email, then we deem that as...
it's not service. No.
But can you accept it?
You can if you want to. You can if you want to, but if there's an issue involved and you didn't get that email, it's not a defence from the tenant's point of view. All right? So those are better ones from our point of view. There's one more I think that's good news. Let me have a look. Not too much good news.
No, it's a bit hard to find. I'd be curious to know what you come up with.
You've got to dwell on it. But I think the most important thing is the fact that it is the person over 16 years of age is still there. But it's interesting, the 16 years of age at the person's residential or business address. So you could actually leave it at the front desk. Okay? So it just makes the situation where tenants who play hide and seek, if you know where they work, you can actually go and do it and you're not breaching privacy, which is contained in here. It's in an envelope. Unless you stand there and say, this bloke's behind with his rent and here's his notice, you know, then you might have a problem. But yeah, but I think that's a significant way of tidying up the problems in relation to service of notice. So you've got more things that you can use. If you're going to normal post, yes. And what we didn't get through and they were talking about was if you sent it by express post, it was only going to be 1 day. But they didn't consider that was worth putting in. So, but they've expanded this to the extent that should make our jobs a lot easier in service of notice and cuts down the number of denials. because you've got to put in your file a statement that you were there at the premises and you put it in the letterbox, and a declaration to that effect has got to be accepted by the tribunal. Yeah.
You've got to have 4 days notice if you deliver it to the residential service.
No, if you hand deliver it, it's there from the day. It's not. It's the effective day of service or the commencement of the time is the day after. You put it in today, Tuesday. The first day of the notice is Wednesday forward. Okay, so that's how it'll work. And the same thing if you take it to the business address or whatever. So communication, I think, is pretty good there. Okay. One that I'm not at all happy about, and I can't find anybody that's going to give us an explanation for it, is the termination by a landlord at the end of a fixed term. It's been increased from 30 days, from 14 days to 30 days. The tenant still has 14 days. End of fixed term. End of fixed term. So you've got to allow the tenant not less than 30 days to vacate at the end of fixed term. Now, I'll deal also with the one for the expired tenants, the holding over, no blame eviction. You all know, and it's been around forever, that that's been increased from 60 days to 90 days. The tenant is still on the same 21 days. But the interesting thing, the tribunal under this legislation is very clear. It says the tribunal must make a termination order and order of possession if it is satisfied that the notice has been properly prepared and properly delivered. So we're back to where we were originally with 68, which is where the Swain case, but they've taken the discretion away from the tribunal to assess whether the circumstances of the case apply. So you've got a situation, if a tenant outlasts a 30-day or a 90-day notice and you go to a tribunal, they must give you the order. And it actually says it in the legislation.
So Tim, is it a true statement then that we've traded an extra 30 days for certainty? Is that how you'd read that?
Well, that's what they'd like us to believe. I still don't see there's any justification. I mean, one of the discussions that we had with OFT was that the rental market is hard and therefore we need an extra 30 days. That was the same argument they put up in 87 because the market at that time was tight as well, and they took it up from equal notice up to 60 days of notice to the tenant. So it's a justification that they've put in, and now to 90 days, which is I think just totally unreasonable, particularly when you've got written into it the tenant can leave at any day in that period and pay only the rent up to the day they leave, and they're not required to give corresponding notice. So if you've got a 90-day, they don't have to give you 21 in return. So they can go at any time during that 90-day period and pay only the rent to the day they vacate.
And that's in the new act.
Yeah. You want me to look it up? Come to me afterwards, I'll show you. Yeah.